Wow. If there is one word that describes the scent of a Daphne in springtime, it is intoxicating. I have one planted by the front steps to my house. It's in full bloom at the end of February, the early part of March, and every day when I come home, that scent, it's enough to make you drunk when you come inside the house. A great smell. The Daphne odora is a fabulous plant for many parts of the South, but a lot of gardeners who fancy the Daphne have found that there are some problems. It's a little finicky about its environment, the conditions that it likes to grow in. So today, we're going to try to help you be more successful in growing a Daphne. A lot of gardeners say buy 3 so you'll have 1 survive. We're going to get you so you can buy 3 and have 3 survive if you just do what I show you how to do in making the soil around the Daphne well draining, because that's really what a Daphne needs. That's what makes it the most finicky, is trying to plant it in soil that doesn't drain very rapidly. I'm going to plant this one out by the street where I have 2 others. How have they thrived and survived so well so far? Because I made the soil around their roots drain very nicely. And how did I do that? I made my own Walter Special, fast draining Daphne soil. And that's what we're going to do. Now, the first ingredient in this fast draining Daphne soil is what I took out of that hole originally, a lot of clay. You see, clay actually has some good things to be said about it. Number 1, we know it holds a lot of moisture. And number 2, it does hold a lot of nutrients as well. And so we want a soil that does hold some moisture, and we want a soil that has some nutrients in it. So why not just use the clay as part of the mixture that we make? Now, those clay particles are so small that whenever rain comes, they pack together tightly, and that's what makes clay hard. The tiny little particles packed up tight together. So we've got to find a way that makes the clay particles stay apart from each other. And the best material to do that is soil conditioner. Now, this is composted pine bark right here. You can see how organic it is, lots and lots of particles, lots of big particles right here, and that's important. We want some big particles and some small particles to sort of keep those clay particles apart from each other. So the second ingredient in our Daphne soil is soil conditioner. Several brand names you'll find at garden centers, but this big chunky soil conditioner is good stuff to have. Now, the third ingredient is sand, but not the regular sand that you're probably used to using, because play sand, like you'd use in the kids' sandbox outside, the particles for it are very small, and if you take your fingers and feel the texture right there, you'll find that the particles are so small that they really don't do a whole lot to break apart the clay or to add anything to this soil we have right here. So this very fine sand, play sand it's usually called, is not what I'm going to add to my mixture. What I want to add instead is a very gritty sand. Now, gritty sand I find very commonly at the home improvement stores in the concrete section. It's usually used as an underlayment when you lay your loose fit bricks or maybe some stones as a walkway in front of the house or behind the house, someplace like that. They pour this down, pack it down, and use it as the underlayment. It's called here, I believe, all-purpose sand. But when we open it up, you can see that the texture is completely different. See how much grit there is in this sand? And that grit helps my soil for the Daphnes drain that much more rapidly. And so if you're going to add sand, use this gritty sand to put into your Daphne mixture, and that'll make the soil drain as rapidly as we want. Let's throw that over in there. And we'll add this sand to my other 2 ingredients. Now we got to mix it all up. Now, you know what? I bet that you were smart enough to know already that if you mix clay when it's wet as this clay is, it just forms lumps like this. It really hasn't mixed together with the sand and the organic material we have right here. So what do we do to get the clay broken apart and mixed together with it? If we were on a food show, what would we get? We'd get the mixer. We'd go out there and stir it up real good with a mixer, but I'm not going into the kitchen to get my wife's mixer because I know what kind of trouble that would cause. We're going to use a garden mixer, my Mantis tiller. Put this over here. And no, it's not going to hurt my wheelbarrow. I know you're worried about my wheelbarrow, but I promise you, I've done this before, and if you're very light and use the Mantis tiller on top of the soil, you won't hurt your wheelbarrow. Now we're mixed up real good. Doesn't that look a lot better? Still some lumps of clay in there, but that won't hurt anything. But you know, there are differences in the soil in different parts of the country. In the way far south, there's lots of clay down there, of course. In other parts of the country, there's lots of sand, maybe loam. And you just have to look at what you get afterwards and decide whether it needs anything more. You know what I think about this? I think there's a little bit too much sand and clay for the proportion of the organic material in there. So what I'm going to do is add another bucket of organic material to it, and just like on the food show, bam, we're going to take it up a notch. Because you know another thing that Daphnes really like? They like some phosphorus. And phosphorus is in this bone meal. Let's put it down here so you can see the analysis. 412-0. The middle number on a fertilizer bag stands for phosphorus, and phosphorus is what stimulates the roots to grow. And so we'll add, about a quarter cup, I guess, of bone meal here to our Daphne mixture. And the other thing that I know Daphnes love is having a high pH soil, not an acid soil. They like a very limey soil, so we'll add some lime as well. This is just regular old garden lime right here, and again, about a half a cup mixed over the top. Will do just fine. All right, and another bucket of organic material, and we'll mix all of this together, and we'll see what that looks like. As Justin Wilson would say, that is some good fixins right there. That is some definitely fast draining Daphne soil. Let's take this up front, put it in the ground, put this Daphne in place, and we'll have one happy Daphne. Now, I didn't want to put too much soil in the hole at first because I have to put my Daphne in here too and sort of get the roots spread out. So I'm going to use my hands to open up this hole to give me plenty of planting room there. And here is our Daphne. There she comes. Ooh, nice root system on here, yeah. Good looking plant. Now with these roots, I want to untangle them a little bit because you want to stimulate the roots to go on out and explore the surrounding soil and not be happy living in this potting soil or this propagation soil that they were grown in the nursery. So I need to tease them apart here with my fingers. It just adds more organic matter to the soil, that's fine. Loosen it up on the bottom as well until I have a good root mass, and then all these roots can go out and find what they need in the surrounding soil. Now, what do you think? Think it looks good? Okay, time to plant. Dig it out a little bit here. Now, I want it to be just a smidge high because I want the soil around it to be a little bit higher than the surrounding clay here, so that still seems a little low. Let's put a little in the bottom. Yeah, now see, that's higher. I'll straighten it up and press it into place. Yeah, that looks pretty good, pretty nice. Now we need to fill on around it with the rest of my Daphne soil. All right, now we'll clean out just a little bit to get the bottom of the plant growing at just about the level it was growing in the pot originally. You can see now that it's growing on sort of a mound. So I'm pretty sure the drainage will be nice. You notice behind me, underneath my feet, I have a soaker hose. I run the soaker hose throughout my plants because I know during the summertime, inevitably, we're going to have a drought. And so I really believe in using soaker hoses, putting them up sort of near the plant, so when it does get really hot and dry, I can give it water if it needs it. And of course, the last thing you'd always do is to put some mulch around it too. And I'll put the mulch on top of the soaker hose so nobody can see the hose. Well, there. One last sniff. Well, remember our proportions that we mixed together. We had 1 bucket of clay, 2 buckets of the organic soil amendment, and 1 bag of that very, very gritty sand. We mixed them up real nicely together, put them together into the hole, put the Daphne in the middle, and you know what? This is not going to be a happy Daphne. This is going to be a delirious Daphne that you could have in your landscape every spring. Good.